After another season of disappointment, the Phoenix Suns decided to do what they've done in each of the last 3 seasons, and that's fired their head coach. We're going to talk about it all and more because the Phoenix Suns just seem to think that by changing the coach is going to get different results. And until they really want to make true changes, we'll talk about it all and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central. You already know who I am. I'm Haize. And unfortunately, the Phoenix Suns have moved on from coach Mike Budenholzer. And listen, while the Suns they got a lot of shit going on. Just to be quite frank, the Suns are a team. I talked about it, a couple of episodes ago in which I talked about the Suns are a cautionary tale to just about every single area of basketball that you could possibly think about it on. Like they're a cautionary tale with everything, every single thing, every facet of this franchise, right? They had the highest salary in NBA history and failed to make even the play-in, right? And everybody kind of expected big moves to come after that, whether it's with the roster, but the Suns decided to part ways with head coach Mike Budenholzer after the season ends. And, not to say that it's something that you don't understand when it comes down to it, but per Shams, it says this: Budenholzer had some issues connecting with the locker room this season, with team officials concluding that the roster failed to respond to the 21 NBA championship coach. Budenholzer's inability to coexist with his players centered around the franchise cornerstone, Devin Booker, and went down the roster, those sources said. So it seems like this team had Coach Bud had an issue with Devin Booker. And that issue, because Devin Booker is the franchise player there with Phoenix. Devin Booker is a guy that wants a statue in Phoenix. He wants to stay and finish his career in Phoenix despite all the craziness going around. That issue with Devin Booker, created a rift between Coach Bud and the locker room. And when it comes to that, you do got to make a decision when things get that bad, right? But the problem here is, and to me, and this is something I'm gonna say until it changes or we get information otherwise, the biggest issue with the Phoenix Suns is everything from top down to bottom. You go through head coaches like it's no tomorrow. This is your third straight season of firing your head coach. And that's part of the issue with it when it comes down to it, right? Is that the Phoenix Suns just don't seem like they really understand and grasp what it comes down to really correct this team. You hear things like they're open to working with Kevin Durant to move on, to find him a new destination to go to. Cool, right? But then you also hear things that they're open to signing him to a contract extension. What? Right? You hear that they want to correct this shit, but they're hesitant to move on from Devin Booker because they want to still try to put a championship contender around Devin Booker. What? Do you really think that you have to do that, right? You traded, even the whole way that you started off with this build of your team came down to an imbalanced roster with no point guard, and you thought that it was going to work. All these things shape up to a bad place that the Phoenix Suns, it's systemic of what's going on with the Phoenix Suns. It's there to the root of who that franchise is, and it's not going to change when it comes down by just changing your head coach. Now, okay, if there was a rift between Devin Booker and Coach Bud, and you know that you plan on holding on to Devin Booker, moving on from him, it is what it is. Wash your hands of that. But this isn't going to fix the culture issue that you have in Phoenix by just changing coaches every single time there's a problem there. It's not going to change the culture issue you have there. You have a culture issue in Phoenix. You have a problem there from top to bottom, from ownership down to the goddamn person selling peanuts. You have that level of problems with your franchise, and this type of thing isn't going to be what correct that. It's not going to put you on the right path to get it done. And I don't know if the Phoenix Suns really realize that. The Suns are like a lot of franchises would love to have an ownership group that's willing to throw as much money at a situation as possible to make sure that money isn't the thing that's limiting your franchise. But you know what? When you don't have a problem spending money, but you have a problem in basketball IQ, and you have stupid people that are running your team, you can have all the money in the world. You're still going to run into that wall every single time because you have idiots running your franchise. And that's the problem with the Phoenix Suns. Everything that this team has done from getting to the finals to now has been stupid. And one could say that you lucked up in getting to the finals because you were able to get to it, and it's been a downhill slope since then. This is a stupid franchise that makes stupid decisions, and you got stupid people in power. And until that changes, I don't know what's going to change for this team. The Kevin Durant trade, you better hope that you're going to get a lot back for that. I don't think it's gonna work out for you and really change the direction of your franchise. I don't think that personally. But hey, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe I'm the stupid one. Maybe the Phoenix Suns are on to something that we don't all realize. Maybe when they hire their next head coach, whoever that ends up being, they will be paying three head coaches. Three head coaches. Three. And they would be paying four if Monty Williams didn't take the Detroit job before he got fired there. That's just not the way to run your franchise. You got a $200 million salary cap bill. You're paying three head coaches when you hire your next head coach. You got stupid people running your organization. You traded draft picks. You ain't got none of that coming in here. You got bad money on your books. This franchise is the Pits. It's the Pits. The only other franchise that's near as bad as them that you can even make a little bit of a conversation for maybe is the Dallas Mavericks. But this is where the Phoenix Suns are. And it's not going to change anytime soon because they're stupid. They're dumb. They're stupid. And that's just the problem with where this franchise is right now. You got stupid people running your franchise. You're spending a stupid amount of money. You ain't got no draft picks because you made stupid ass moves. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What's the goal? What are we trying to reach here? Because I don't know. But with that said, let's talk about some of the best candidates to replace Coach Bud now that they've moved on from that, right? So the first one that I want to bring up here is, of course, Taylor Jenkins, right? You look at Taylor Jenkins, what he was able to do with the Memphis Grizzlies. He had a career winning percentage there with that franchise of almost 60%. He's definitely somebody that I would expect the Phoenix Suns to take a look at, right? Taylor Jenkins as well is going to be somebody who's going to be looking to prove some things, especially with the way things went in Memphis. Now, I think that the Phoenix Suns are a shitty organization that no coach should want to go to, but there are only 30 jobs in the NBA, meaning that somebody's going to take this job, hoping that they can be part of what rights the ship here. I personally think that the Phoenix Suns also need to look at removing James Jones from being the GM there. They need a complete new revamp and a new eye on the whole thing there. But right now, head coach Taylor Jenkins, of course, is going to be somebody that they're going to make a call on. I also think that Mike Malone is going to get a call here, right? Mike Malone, another coach that was fired from a winning organization that actually built something with the team, right? I think he was hired there in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, spent 10 seasons there, had 8 straight winning seasons with that Denver Nuggets team. And he was fired right before the playoffs. I do think if you want another proven head coach, a hard-nosed head coach, Mike Malone makes a lot of sense for the Phoenix Suns. Again, they still need to get their franchise corrected because they're still stupid. But that's just my personal opinion on that one. And then when it comes down to it as well, that's the first two, right? Mike Malone, Taylor Jenkins. These are two coaches that make a lot of sense right now for where this team is from both a development standpoint, and just a point of that they've reached really high levels, right? And you want somebody who's going to come in there that has some history of winning with the franchises that they've been on and make some sense of it. But I also think do not be surprised. And I know this may sound like a shocker, right, to many people, but they may try to find first-time head coaches. They've made their shot. They made their go at it with experienced head coaches. It may be time for them to try to look at a first-time head coach. And I think Chris Quinn is one that the Phoenix Suns definitely could take a look. I think Chris Quinn is going to get an opportunity a lot of jobs around the NBA. Now, he's going to have his pick. He has no rush to leave the Miami Heat organization, but I do think he is somebody that could get a call here from the Phoenix Suns to take a look at what they can bring. Now, I don't know if it's going to be successful there. Not saying that per se, but I do think that Chris Quinn is another coach that could get a call here when it's all said and done from the Phoenix Suns as well, and we can see what happens there. We got Rob says another one bites the dust, especially with the Suns. How many more coaches will they fire? Bro, I have no idea. CP, Suns are neck and neck with the Mavs in terms of dumb management. You're not wrong there, bro. You're not wrong there at all. I'm down for more crazy NBA news. Hey, listen, this is going to be more. it's going to be more. The Pelicans fired their GM. David Griffin's out with the Pelicans, which makes some sense there. I think that the Pelicans are a franchise that does need to take a new look. They need new eyes on the situation. One of the problems with the Pelicans is that they've started and stopped so many different times, right? As far as making changes with that team. Reportedly they didn't want to move Trey Murphy. Then they were open to moving Trey Murphy. They wanted to move Zion. Then they didn't want to move Zion, right? They were a team that a lot of people expected them to blow it up at the trade deadline and didn't. So I think moving Alpha Griffin here now and getting a new GM there is going to make some sense for that team. This is like when the Bulls fired Billy Donovan. Only the Bulls are going to be several years late. That's hilarious. They're in such a bad spot right now, too, because the value they can get for their main pieces isn't that high. I mean, you're not wrong there. That's a great point there as well. This is going to be Bradley Beal's team soon. Man, little to no draft picks, bad contract, underachieving stars, and subpar decision-making of the front office. The Suns are screwed. They're cooked. The Suns are cooked. The Suns are absolutely cooked. They're cooked. Despite the issues, the Suns' old owner was redeemable and should have kept his team fell apart with him. Here goes. That's JDH. Anytime a man is criticized, JDH, oh my God. He probably going to find work right away. This Suns team was just dysfunctional from ownership to the team itself. Yeah, but at this point, and don't get me wrong, Coach Bud should be able to find a job, but Coach Bud has just had a bad go, man. From the Atlanta Hawks to the Milwaukee Bucks, where he did win a title with the Milwaukee Bucks, to the Phoenix Suns, it's just Coach Bud is just, man, I hope that he can find a team where he can stay at for a while and actually build something. The Bill contract is terrible. The office has zero leverage to that contract. The only leverage that the Suns could possibly have for Bradley Beal is that they ruin that team so much that Bradley Beal looks around and he's like, I don't want to play here. I don't want to play with these guys. That's the only way that it can happen. The Suns got to take Denver Nuggets route and just clean house at this point. You're not wrong, bro. You're not wrong. This has been quite a year in the NBA in terms of story, a crazy year in terms of storylines. And it's not done because it's going to pick back up whenever they announce MVP. Oh, my God, the storylines are going to go crazy. And we're not done with coaches getting fired. We're not done with that either. Front offices being fired. There's a lot still left to happen before the calendar flips with the NBA. It's going to be a lot more storylines, man. But all right, y'all, I just wanted to bring this update. No, I was a little late on this one. I was actually recording Locked On NBA when this news came down. But that's the news. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything basketball related, and we'll see you guys the next time I feel like making a video or the next time some crazy news drops. Either way, I'll see you guys then. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.